Hey, what up everyone? I'm Cool, and this is Everquest Project 1999. And we're back in Nectalis, I know, but it's just such a good camp, such a good area. I didn't even know it. But I'm showing this other Halfling camp on my Dark Elf Necromancer. I think we're level 13 here. In real time, I'm 14, almost 15. At the same camp, though. I've been here for like 3 levels. This is a really good camp. It's right across the water. I'm kind of showing where it's at. Um, a lot of them con blue. It's the little halflings again, except for it's a different camp. It's a bigger camp. It's right on the other side of the river. So if you know where the river is and you know where the bridge is, that's where we're at. In Nectalis. So you leave Neriak, you follow the right wall, you pass up Lava Storm, you hit the water. You can either swim straight across the water and the camp is right there, or you can go along the water to the bridge, cross the bridge, and then go back along the water to the right, and the camp will be there. I mean, that's the easiest way to get to it. Otherwise, you're like risking passing some shadow men that are red and whatnot. There is one guard, but there's the guards I'm showing with my cursor. Look out for those fish. If you go in the water, those piranhas or whatever they're called are red, and they will eat you alive. So be careful if you're bad at swimming. I was trying to practice swimming in the river, and I got attacked by one, so I had to get out as quick as possible, which was not very quick. But yeah, Dark Elf Necromancer in Nectalis, level 13 on this video, but about to turn 15 at the same camp. So this camp is really good for like 12 through 14 probably is really good. There's so many spawns that you probably don't want to come here before that. Maybe 11, but that's the good thing. There's so many spawns, and they're kind of spread out too, so you can pull these guys. Like pull this one by itself. There's 2 here that are always blue, or one started turning green on me, but there's 2 over there. I think those are the best ones to pull. And then this guy right here, he'll come by himself, even though it looks like he's kind of in the middle of the camp there. He'll still come by himself. So I got a little rotation of 4 halflings that I'm killing. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. It depends how active I am in playing the actual game, you know? If I'm just AFK doing other things, like that's why I chose the Necromancer so I could do that. I'll sit on this hill up here, which is where I recommend you sit. If you sit anywhere else, you're going to get attacked by bears, shadow wolves, and all that, so be careful. But sit up on this hill next to these 2 guys, and just kill these 2 over and over and over. And if you have the extra mana and health, go kill the other 2 I showed you. The one by the tree there, and then the Jesse. The one called Jesse by the by the other tree. Except for you stand by the tree and attack him instead of him standing by the tree. But these 2, like I will sit up on the side of the hill there at the side of the zone. I'll get my mana all the way up, then I'll send my pet in versus both of them, and I'll dot up the one my pet's fighting, and usually that one, once I get all my dots on it, it'll come after me because it'll be mad. But by that time, it's almost dead, and then my pet turns to the other one and starts taunting it. So he'll fight the other one, and then I'll poke the first one to death while it's dying of a dot, and then my pet will be on the second one, which sometimes is green, and he'll finish it off before I can even finish mine off. Or it'll be a blue, and I'll have to dot it up a little bit, and you know, you want to make sure you get a good pet if you're a necromancer. I mean, you could be a shaman, a mage, whatever. Another thing to mention here is I think there's a cleric quest involved with these guys. They drop this thing called a woven grass amulet, and it's like no trade, no drop, but I think it's for a cleric quest, like a pretty big cleric quest that goes through like 3 different quest givers and like a epic kind of quest type. Not epic, but you know what I mean. It's an early level quest, but it starts and it gets better and better type stuff. But I don't think anybody else can turn it in. I might try, but the reward is like a cleric only thing. I think it might be 2 classes. It's like cleric and something else. But a cleric came here and asked me, can I loot the woven grass amulets? And I was like, sure. I didn't really know what they were for at the time. And then I looked it up, and it was like a cleric only quest. So I was like, yeah, sure. But here's a little mini game you can play while you're meditating. If you're not AFK, like most of the time, I just go AFK and like do some grown-up work um, while I'm meditating because you just don't want to sit there and watch your blue bar go up. Like that's kind of boring. But if you're totally into the game and you're ready to jump up as soon as your mana gets full or gets to a certain point, and you want to maximize your experience and you're a good player and you're not AFK all the time like me, you can play this little gems game if you want while you're waiting. It's kind of funny that the main game I play on my channel is called Gems of War, and there's a mini game in a game I used to play called Gems. I don't know, that just seemed like really meta to me. I was talking to Faceless One about it, who also plays Everquest. We talk in the game a lot, so if anybody else is playing, just you can always put me on your friend list, send me a tell. Um, I'm kind of standoffish and when I talk about it because I want to keep, I don't know, kind of standoffish a little bit. I am a lone wolf, so I'm not going to be chatting you up 24/7, joining your group every time you're on and all that. But every once in a while, and if I feel chatty, you know what I mean? Like I'm a lone wolf, but I do enjoy talking to people, certain people, like Faceless One, and grouping every once in a while. It does get kind of boring just soloing all the time, but this game's kind of weird. It's like you match three, and it has to be the three exact same things, and then they'll screw up your controls and make it drop faster, make your controls reversed. They'll make the thing fly all over the place and you have to control it. I don't know. I never played this game very much, this little mini game. I was usually more either chatting with my guild or doing something in real life while I was waiting. Actually, when I played this game, my main was a warrior, so I was usually pooling. So I didn't have much downtime. I was never really a caster, believe it or not. I've just turned into a caster now because I can do like AFK camping and still get a bunch of experience. Like I went to from 12 to 15 in like 3 days, pretty much, just by sitting here doing this camp. So it's a really good camp. You sit on the side of the hill, nothing will attack you as long as you're on the side of the hill by this little tree, like exactly where I'm sitting. Skeleton does walk up kind of close to the wall, but he's back. If you're too far from, you see the stone we're looking at behind the game in the book, that stone that's kind of tilted. Um, you don't want to be any further away from that because there's a skeleton that'll walk up to the side of the wall, but he doesn't come this far. There's a tree. If I directly behind me and to the left, you'll see there's like a tree that's on the edge of the zone. You can't get behind it, but it's on like the edge of the zone. If you sit right next to that tree as close as you can, it's pretty safe. So, and as far up on the wall as you can, right next to the two that spawn. And then for me at level 14 right now, the one is always blue. The furthest one away is always blue. And then the closest one to me is blue like 75% of the time. And when he's green, he still gives experience. And when he's blue, sometimes he's bluer than the other guy. It's crazy. Then you'll look to your right, and there's the one by the tree. That one turns green sooner than the two right here. He will still give experience, like, it's less than half. Like, you'll kill him 10 times, and he'll give you experience like 4 times, And then the one Jesse I told you about, if you kill the two right in front of you, and then you keep going straight to the big tree, there's like this raised ground and then this big tree. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's not too far out. You pass up Jesse. He'll be on your left. There'll be a tree straight ahead with a little bit of raised ground. Kind of stand near that tree and that raised ground. Then I would pull Jesse with a spell and then send your pet in, like when he's halfway to you. That way you get him a little bit further away from the rest of the halflings, but he doesn't, they're not that social to where he'll pull. Maybe I'll show it here. I never know because I record this and then I talk over it later. But here's the guy that's like green most of the time, so I'll just send my pet in, throw a strength debuff on it, which also buffs my strength. It's a low level spell, but I like to do it as like an opener because it usually doesn't give me too much aggro, but it drains their strength by a little bit and gives me a little bit of extra strength. I don't know. It's just a spell I like to use that as my first spell that I feel like helps the battle out a little bit, and it doesn't give me as much aggro as something like Heat Blood, Which I guess I should talk about my new spells since I don't think we've talked about it very much since I turned to level 12, but I got a bunch of awesome new spells that I know more about now. I got one called Engulfing Darkness, which is a snare and a dot, so I almost always cast that, especially if the mob runs when it gets low on health. I got one called Heat Blood, which is a really heavy dot, like burns up their blood. So you got to be careful with that one because it has a lot of aggro. It feels like, anyway. So what I'll do is I'll cast the Siphon Strength first, or I'll send my pet in. Then I'll cast Siphon Strength. Then I will cast Heat Blood, which is the heavy dot. Then I'll cast Engulfing Darkness to make sure they don't run away. It's a snare. Then I'll cast Leech, which drains their health and gives it to you. So it's another dot. So I'm dotting them up pretty heavy, like 3 dots. 3 level 12 dots on these guys. And it's really awesome. I love doing that. I love the dot and squat type of gameplay. Send in your pet, then dot and squat. Just gave my pet a bunch of strength. That's another kind of reason I do the Siphon Strength. I'll take strength from an enemy, give it to myself, and then I'll take strength from myself, give it to my pet. It's kind of like a vicious circle in that way, where I'm not losing as much strength because I'm stealing it from the enemy and then giving it to my pet. Casting another strength buff on myself for the strength that I just lost. Lesser shielding, I think I have on. So all those buffs you see down where my right arm is, that's lesser shielding, Grim Aura, which is a really low-level strength buff. Then Siphon Strength is the top right. That's the strength I stole from the enemy, which is another pretty low-level strength buff. So those two together might be like 10 strength. And then Impart Strength is the blue flexing muscle there. That's the strength I'm losing to give to my pet, which is probably more than the 2 strength buffs. It's like 20 strength or something that I take for myself and give to my pet. And then the little flashing skull you see there is probably Dark Pact, which drains my health but gives me extra mana back while I'm meditating. It's like you lose 2 health, but you gain 2 mana per tick, which is pretty good. I hope I get an upgrade next level, though, because it's really only 2 mana for 2 HP. It's pretty low level, but I still use it because it speeds up the meditating. Which I have full mana right now. Hopefully I'll show you a little round of killing these 2 jerks. These 2 little people. Alright, let's get this game off here. So here's what we're going to do. I usually con them first. So that guy's blue. And this guy's always blue. So the Clemmer, sometimes he'll be green. So I'm sending my pet on Canix. Now I'm casting, I casted Heat Blood there first. Usually I do the Siphon Strength. Then Engulfing Darkness. That's probably why he attacked me so quick, because I did it wrong. At least wrong for me. I have my own little methods. Now I'm going to poke him with my dagger until, he's got every single dot on him now. So he's got Engulfing Darkness, Heat Blood, and Leech on him. Plus I'm poking him with my dagger. Now I'm casting all my dots on Clemmer, so my pet doesn't die. So my pet will be able to kill Clemmer before Clemmer kills him, because he'll be dotted up and dying by damage over time. So I like to help my pet out before I kill this guy. Now I'm focused on this guy. I'm going to poke him up with my shank, my Dragoon Dirk, which is not the best weapon to get as a Necromancer. It looks like my pet died. Holy crap. I must have had a bad pet. You want to make sure your pet says, make sure your pet is at least blue and says it looks quite risky. There's a blue that is not that. Like, it'll say something different, like, looks dangerous, but you might be able to win or something. Like, there's different kinds of blue cons. That'll also help you with enemies, identifying which enemies are harder, too. Like, the one that says looks risky, that means they're really blue, like, they're almost white. And that's the kind of pet you want, too. Like, the closest to your level as you can get is what you want for your pet. But my pet just died there, but I wasn't really in risk of dying, so no big deal. I probably just had a bad pet. Not a big deal. I probably had a green pet. Or a low blue. Like, the low blue says something else. I can't remember, like... but I know the one that you want for your pet looks quite risky. And then, if you see that an enemy says looks quite risky, that means it's a difficult blue. Like a higher level blue. So if blues are, if I'm level, say I'm level 15, and a blue would be 14, 13, 12, and probably even 11. So there's that range. So if it's 14, it's going to say looks risky. If it's 13, it's going to say something else. And then if it's 11, it probably will even say something else, like probably going to win, but, you know, might give you a little bit of trouble, something like that. And then even greens have different ones. Like green, I don't know what they are, but there's greens that give you experience, and then there's greens that give you no experience. Like there's a spectrum of those too. The only one where there's not a spectrum, I think, is white, because white's like they're exactly the same level as you, so there's not a spectrum. But even reds have a spectrum. Like, what is your tombstone gonna say? Like that's like don't mess with that thing. But yeah, I lost my pet there. That was kind of screwed up everything. I don't know. I guess that just happened to happen while I was recording. So now I'm gonna have to meditate, cast a pet, make sure the pet's good, and then if not, recall it, and I'll gain my mana back, but not the regent. So hopefully I have enough bone chips, because my new pet actually costs 2 bone chips. And he's also taller than me. It's awesome. I like how the pets look a little bit different. They may not look different to you because you only see small glimpses of them, but I sit next to my pet all the time, you know, and I know those slight differences, like you know your kids. And this new pet, this level 12 pet, is quite a bit taller than my level 8 pet. And I think they do, like, eventually you get like a specter pet, like a ghoul pet, like you get some cool pets later on in the game. And I think you can even charm like undead if you want. So if I wanted to charm an undead, I could probably do that as well later on in the game. But here's my pet. I caught him. He's green. I should probably recall him and get a different one, because you don't want a green pet. It's just going to get smashed into the ground. Because if your pet's green and the stuff you're fighting is blue, then that means your pet is lower level than the stuff you're fighting. And you don't want that. You really want your pet to be like the same level as the stuff you're fighting or better. So I'm going to go ahead and recall him. All that really cost me was 2 bone chips, which I have stacks of those in the bank. It's not a big deal. It's just like, did I bring enough out here? Hopefully I did. So we'll cast another one, see what we get. Some RNG action. Vanab. Is Vanab. What is he? I'm conning myself. Stop doing that. Another green. Nice. So we'll have to recall him as well. I don't even know if we even get back to the action in this video. So, good camp. Definitely worth doing if you're whatever. I think clerics, there's a quest here, so even better for them. There is faction involved, so be careful with that. I don't know. Like, if you're not a dark elf, if you're not a troll, if you're not an ogre, you probably don't want to kill these at all. But for me, they've always been attack on sight. Like, they'll run and attack me as soon as they see me. So if something does that to me, then I'm usually like, okay, well, I can probably kill them then, because they're attacking me on sight anyway. Like, I might as well attack them on sight too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Guess we're not going to get to see too much more of this camp. This is what I recorded though. But this is a really good camp. There's the 2 that spawn, like I said. And if you have a good pet, it won't die like that. Just dot them up. Or however you play. You're probably not a necromancer, but however you play. I'm looking for more bone chips is what I'm doing. I'm sensing the dead. Instead of going all the way back to the bank, I thought I would look around for some undead to kill to get some bone chips. But that didn't end up working out. But I do, I can show you where the shadow men spawn, which you want to avoid. So, but here's another little camp with the halflings over here as well. But next time, in the next Everquest Project 1999 video, our Dark Elf Necromancer will probably be level 15 or very close, because I'm very close right now. I'm sitting at the same camp, killing those 2 halflings. It's really good at 14, really good experience. And, yeah, just kill those 2. Stay up on the wall by the tree. Watch out for the patrolling red Leatherfoot sergeant, but he only really patrols along the water, so if you sit where I told you to sit, it won't be a problem. And the wildlife won't attack you either if you sit where I told you to sit. If you sit over by like Jesse or the one by the tree, then you're going to get attacked by bears and wolves and all that crap. But also, the one by the tree will fight the wolves and the bears, so if you are a little bit lower level, you can take advantage of that and wait till he's like fighting a bear or a wolf and then attack him, because he'll lose a little bit of health. And sometimes he loses to the wolves and the bears, but I don't know, just another good camp, just a EverQuest video for you, my Dark Elf Necromancer. Please like, share, subscribe, and consider joining, and I'll see y'all next time for the next one. Peace.